Welcome to another Liquid Bullet production. Joining me today is former England international karateka, Mr. John Gardiner. Thanks for coming, John.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, John, could you just tell us a little bit about sort of what your status was in the karate and stuff?
Yeah, I represented England in Kata, in the Kata event for a number of years, from junior to senior. I finished competing in 2018, and then I went on to coach the national team as an assistant coach for a bit. And here we are now.
So before we get into all your gory details, can I just roll you back to the beginning? So we just sort of start with where you was born and where you was brought up, etc.
Yeah, I was born in Barking. We lived in Dagenham for a couple of years and moved down to here, Southend. Pretty normal, to be honest. I started karate when I was 11 or 12 years old in 2000.
What first inspired you to do karate? What sort of?
A couple of things really. I used to like playing the Street Fighter games on the
I remember that,
the Mega Drive and that.
Yeah.
And my dad had previously trained before. He used to do Ishinryu actually.
Oh, right.
And he sort of encouraged me to get involved in the. And here I am. Here we are.
Where was the first sort of club you trained at?
My first club, I trained in the club I stayed in for a while actually, was Shotokan Club. It was Westwood with Sensei Alan Parrish, where I graded to first dan with Sensei Kawasabi. So I was there for a good few years. Yeah.
How did you find karate when you first went into it?
I loved it. Yeah.
Loved it straight away.
Yeah, it was something. I kind of like the sort of individual aspect to it. You know, you're as good as you want to be yourself, you know, it's down to you. Yeah. And I quite enjoyed that sort of thing.
How did you find the discipline part of it as a kid?
Fine, yeah, I enjoyed that as well. I like that. I like that regimented sort of organised. I like to do things quite strict like that. And
yeah, sort of keep you intact when you're a kid, don't
yeah.
Be like army sort of.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's what I like about it.
Yeah. So what sort of progressed you with your training? Sort of what sort of age did you sort of think about competing, and what sort of grade was it?
So I got to first dan. I did a few competitions with them in the association it was with. We did some nationals up in Blackpool every year. I won a few bits there, Kata and Kimite bits.
But just sort of at a low grade or?
All through the grades.
All through the grades.
Yeah.
Every grade.
I actually won the sort of national championship as it was in the association as a red belt, in obviously the red belt category.
Yeah.
And then just won medals and stuff through up to black belt. Mm-hmm. And once I got to there, I wanted to kind of progress to. In fact, I went outside to an open competition for the first time and lost. It was different. It was a different level.
Yeah.
So I wanted to sort of get involved in that and progress to there.
How long did that take you to progress up to your black belt through the ranks?
Only about 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, fairly quick to be honest. I mean, my students now take 6+, so
yeah,
that's quite a quick route, I think.
Yeah, I think over the years they've sort of made the grading like I think it's like 10 cubes now, isn't there? But years ago, it was 6, didn't it? So
yeah, different clubs have different things, but it's more and more grading's going on.
Makes more money.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So talk us through your sort of competition career.
So I got to that stage there where I sort of went to open competition, and it was a whole step above where I was at. I thought I was quite good at the time, you know. I thought I was all right winning medals at this national thing, and then come outside and it was a different.
Jump up to a different league, yeah.
So my dad at the time emailed Tiki Donovan Sensei and asked what is the route to the squad, and it was to medal at nationals, you know, first, second, or third at the time. It's a little bit different now. It's not easier, but it's, you know, a lot of people can go and select nowadays. You know, you can have a load of people selecting, but at the time, if I remember correctly, it was only 1, 2, and 3, the top medalists that could go and select. So that was then my route. I had to go and do that. So I actually joined Ishinryu to progress my kind of competition career. My first British Championships I actually did medal. I got silver. So that was then my route to go and select, and that was where we went.
Straight on after that to select for the British team.
Yeah, I think I missed out on the first selection, but I got the. I then won the British Championships the following year in the under-21s, and then I got selected for the Europeans at that stage.
So, what sort of, when you say selected, what is the selection process?
So
how does that work?
So you'd go up and compete again. Basically, you'd go to national team, national training, and have a sort of a small competition between you and obviously the medalists, 1, 2 and 3, 2 bronze medals, so it'd be 4 people. Then you'd have a panel of, like a selection panel, which would consist of the coach and maybe a couple of referees and stuff, and perform as you would.
Is it just judged on like a competition? It'd just be that one kata you choose, or do they really sort of filter you out and make you do different ones to?
Could be a bit of both, really. Could be depending on the day. Usually a couple of rounds of kata.
Yeah.
I've done both. I've done one where I've done 1, and I've done some where I've done 5, 6. So depends on the day.
Yeah. So what was your first trip with the British team when you got selected?
I went to the European Junior Championships in Turkey. I got to the second round and I went out there, but it was a great experience. It was a good experience getting out there and seeing what the level, again, another step up again. You know, I'd had that step up from the sort of closed Shotokan stuff to the open, and I'd sort of risen to that level, I like to think, you know, medaling at nationals and stuff, and then then another level again at the European level.
I suppose to explain it for the viewers, it's a little bit like a Division 4 football team stepping up to Division 3.
That's it,
yeah. Different kettle of
definitely,
fish,
yeah. Different people, levels of
tougher
yeah,
levels.
For sure.
Yeah. Then where did you go after that, John?
So I continued competing really. I went then. I got selected for the senior team. We did Team Kata for a while.
You just touched on Team Kata there. Could you just explain what a Team Kata is and how that works?
I mean, so firstly, for people that don't know what Kata is in the first place, is like a sequence of techniques that are pre-arranged, fighting techniques, with an application, and you're judged on a number of criteria: speed and power and technique, balance, these kind of things. And the Team Kata would be 3 competitors performing these katas synchronised.
Yeah. So how does that work when you're training? So everything's got to be synchronised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, technique's got to be the same.
And it's judged on that sequence.
Yeah. So the technique has to be exactly the same. You almost have to be 3 of the same.
How many hours training goes into that sort of thing to like synchronised? Obviously, if you're doing an individual, it's just you. When it's 3 of you, surely the timing's got to be a lot of practice for that.
It's hard, and especially a lot of the time my team was scattered around the country, so a lot of travelling up north and stuff like that. Obviously, there's the individual aspect you have to keep in check. You know, your own personal level has to be high, and then you get together as often as you can to obviously get that synchronisation. Yeah.
So was you in the team for the British as well, for Team Kata, or just
yes,
just both?
Yeah.
An individual.
Yeah. So I did both.
Yeah. So when did the bunkai come into the Team Kata? And can you explain a little bit about that, the bunkai?
So the bunkai was in there all the time when I came in. Actually, I came in at sort of when I came to this competition, you know, the open circuit. I was 16, which was in 2015, I think. 2005, sorry. And the bunkai was there. Bunkai is basically in the final round. You'd perform your kata together, and then you'd perform almost like a choreographed fight situation, demonstrating the techniques that you've done in the kata. And some of it can be quite elaborate, you know, athletic, you know, flips and kind of bits like this. Not so real, some of it, but it's for show, right? It's a competition thing.
It's good to watch, isn't it? The shows like like film set, like stunt fighting.
For sure, you know, it's quite interesting. It's probably, I mean, I've heard a lot of you know, Kumite champions say that the most enjoyable part of watching the World Championships is the Team Kata, you know, which is quite interesting. Yeah,
it's like a good little demonstration.
Yeah, it is,
yeah. So what else did you go on to after this, John?
So I competed until I was 30, I think 31, 2018. I had a few fairly good results. They're what are called the K1 events, which are sort of world opens, where, you know, the best kind of go to. I got a few top 7 finishes, which are okay. So then I finished when I got married and had a baby, right?
Happens, little girl, doesn't it? Yeah. And once the family life kicks in, it gets a bit harder.
And it's all self-funded. That's the problem. So paying to go away all the time, it's hard to justify that with a family. You know, taking away from what we could have holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's crazy. I'll just step in there. So karate has always been self-funded, isn't it? Where judo and other sports, to get government funded to go and represent your country, yet you've got to pay out your own pocket to represent your own country.
There was a time, I think, back before my time where there was some funding from the lottery grants, but some things happened, I think, up in the board and that.
Yeah, it's terrible, really. You know, you're going to represent your own country, and there's no funding. You've got to pay out your own pocket.
Yeah.
So, realistically, there could probably be some very good people out there that could want to represent the country, yet they just physically can't afford to.
Absolutely.
To pay for it.
I've been to selections before where they've said before the selection, if you can't afford to go, don't select, and you've had people pulling out. It's a shame, really. It's a real shame.
Yeah, it's crazy. Why is that aspect like that? Why is that with no funding in karate?
I think it's a lot of karate splits. You know, there's no one federation that governs karate in England.
Yeah.
Is one of the things. And the problem with that also is abroad they are funded, so you're also competing against funded athletes, which is even harder, right?
Like you say, once they're funded, they're probably getting paid to go to training camps and train all day, every day. So,
well, you take the stresses out of even making the money to go. You know, you're thinking you've got £1,000 over to spend on your competition. These have not got to think about that.
So then, really, their training levels are going to be outweighing the British teams.
Yeah, even have to pay for squad training and everything, all of it. It's all self-funded.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? So really, to represent your country, it's going to cost you out your own pocket.
It's become like a rich person sport, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's a shame, really.
It is, because I've known a lot of people that can't continue because of that reason, you know, and people that go maybe that can afford to go that maybe were not the best at the time, and it's how it is, I suppose, but it's not ideal.
So to talk to us about your karate now, John, what sort of things are you up to now if you've finished from competing?
So I've kind of moved away from that side, really. I've always sort of believed in having a well-rounded karate, because I mean a lot of people now are focused only on kata competition, and that is their whole training, which I understand, because to compete with these funded countries you have to do as much as you can on it, right? But I think there's something missing in the kata today where the realness is not there sometimes. So this is how my path now is in working on real karate. Oh, I don't want to use the word real. Applied karate that can be applied. You know, effective, I suppose. If it works, then I keep it. And if it doesn't work, then maybe I don't. That kind of thing. You know, a lot of impact work, bag work, drilling, partner work, taking bits out of kata and drilling them in more of a realistic situation, like close range sort of stuff, this kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, so obviously you teach as well, John. So when did that first happen that you started to teach?
I started my club in 2000 and I don't know, 10 or so, I think. 10, yeah. So
over
2011,
10 years ago, 12 years ago.
It's actually 11 years, so 2011.
How did you find a transition from like competing to becoming an instructor?
Well, I was doing both for quite a long time. I mean, at the start, I was working a job and teaching as well in the evening and training. So it was hard to fit it in.
Yeah, but, juggling with it all.
But it's, you know, you get it done. You get it done. But it's hard. You have to be selfish at the times. You need to be selfish for your competition, but you also have to give everything, because you can't hold things back from your students. You know, you have to give them everything, because that's what they're coming to you for. You know, you can't hold things back and do that sort of thing. But
did you find that used to hold you back a little bit though, like from having to teach and trying to fit your own training in? Yeah,
I think so. And this comes back to again the funding issue. I was kind of teaching to fund myself, right? Because you know, you have to do that. If you didn't have to worry about funding yourself, you could just train.
Yeah.
You know, if you had some kind of funding from the federation, you could concentrate on the karate more, on the training more. But I stopped my job that I was working at the time because the club was going okay, that I could do that. So I did have quite a fair amount of time to train, and I'll just fit it in. You know, sometimes 6 in the morning or in the evening or whenever. I just made it work.
Yeah. It just takes up your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So what are you concentrating on now with like your own sort of club?
Just developing karate, developing my own karate in a way, like I said, you know, I think more of an applied. Everyone uses real karate, but I don't. You know, I like to just take things from places that I learn. You know, it could be anything, any martial art. You know, bits of Thai boxing, bits of judo. I've done a bit of judo, and just, you know, put it all together. I still teach Shotokan. It would still be recognised as Shotokan, but I think that in the end, everything is the same. You know, a kick, you can only kick so many ways, and punch, if it works, then it works. You know, there's one way that works, or there might be a few ways that work, but if it works, then I'm taking it.
Yeah. Who's been your sort of inspiration through your karate career? Has there been anyone you sort of looked up to or idolised, or? It's
changed over time, really, as my sort of karate and my understanding of karate has developed. It's changed. Back in the day, it was Luca Valdesi, who was the world champion at the time, because I was obviously in that competition mode.
Yeah.
As I progressed on, I did quite a bit of work with, or some work with Sensei Dave Hazard. Through my colleague Sensei Eddie Gray up in Ripon. He's you know, we were associated with Dave Hazard, and we did quite a bit of work there, which was, you know, he's incredible. If you've seen his karate, just check it out on YouTube. You know, there should be a few bits on there, but yeah. So it changes with where I'm at.
Yeah. Just a bit of a random question. Have you ever had to use your martial arts in a real life situation, and has it got you out of trouble any times?
I think that question usually means, have you kicked and punched someone? But actually, I think really, the lessons from karate, I think, are always being used, aren't they? In terms of awareness, you know, being aware of the environment. You can avoid a situation through that awareness you learn from karate.
Yeah.
Or you can de-escalate things through, you know, being confident and stuff like this. You know, the way you hold yourself. You know, being firm in some ways. You know, a push away kind of thing, and it can be enough sometimes.
Yeah, showing confidence and not breaking down at someone.
So I think really, I think it's every day. You know, use your karate every day. Yeah. If you train with the right intention, and you carry that into your life, I think it's something that should be applied every day.
Yeah. Have you got any funny stories for us for when you was away with the England team?
Probably not that I can say.
I bet there weren't.
Probably not that I can say.
I bet there was a few not so sensible days.
yeah. Not too much I can say on here, to be honest. But, my wife might be watching.
So to what grade are you now, John? What have you got up to now?
I'm a fourth dan now.
Fourth dan?
Yeah. I graded to fourth dan last year, actually. I spent about 10 years as a third dan.
Wow, 10 years.
I think it's about 10. Yeah, I graded in 2010. I came out of Ishinryu at the time, and went back to Shotokan. So I had a period of time where I was kind of, you know, focusing on different things. You know, obviously I was still competing as well. And then I graded last year to fourth.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what do you think your future holds for you now? What sort of path are you going down?
Just continue developing, really. I think it's a constant path of development, and I think what I see quite a lot is that people are doing the same karate forever. You know, the same karate they did as a teenager is the same karate they're trying to do at 50. You know, and I think that karate should change. And you can ask me a question today about karate, and the answer will be different in 10 years. You know, and if you'd asked me 10 years ago what I thought about things, it'd be completely different.
Yeah. I see your point there when you say people are doing the same karate. If you're just doing the same moves over and over, yeah, you're going to perfect them, but you're not actually making any more knowledge of yourself, are you? You're not building a bigger puzzle, so you're only ever you're not going to grow. You're just going to stay the same.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. You're doing the same up to, you know, black belt.
Yeah.
Over and over again. You know, the same basic stuff. And I don't think the techniques have to change as such, but your understanding of the techniques should change, and how you're applying those techniques, I think. You know, it's nice kicking high and stuff, and I still like kicking and that, but you know, as a 50, 60-year-old, where maybe my mobility may not be as good in that time, should I be still trying to kick that higher, or should I have a good low kick?
Yeah.
I think the low kick is better, you know.
Yeah.
You know, a karateka, someone who practices karate at say 60, for example, they shouldn't look the same as someone doing it at 20. There should be different. There should be different things.
Yeah, different levels, change of techniques.
Yeah, it should be
suitable to work.
It doesn't mean they're less. You know, that doesn't mean their ability is less. It's probably more, to be honest, because they've had so much more time. But I think trying to play like the young person's karate forever is a losing game, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I see it a lot. I see a lot of people doing that kind of thing. I think the karate should work for your body, and not you trying to work for the karate. You know?
Yeah. Well, just a random one, John. What's your favourite kata to do in competition?
All my answers are quite vague because again it changes. It changes with time.
There's not been one that you've used a lot.
In competition, probably Unsu. Unsu is one of the ones that I enjoyed doing most. But again, that changed with time. Probably Unsu, yeah, is one I would say was my favourite across sort of my 10 or 12 years of competing.
Yeah. So, where can people find you, John, if they wanted to come and train with you or
so
watch what you're doing and stuff online?
I've got an Instagram account and a TikTok account for the kids, you know, and it's doing quite well. It's quite popular. I've got some, you know, building a little bit of a following on there, and I can't remember what the name is. I think it's like at JK Gardiner or something like that. If I give you the bits after, maybe you can stick it on the screen or something.
Put it up for you.
But yeah, I do quite a few little clips of technique, you know, some application to kata, some kicks, some training ideas, this kind of thing, which seems to be doing quite well. If they want to come and train with me in person, I have a club in Southend, JKG Karate, and my website is www.jkgkarate.co.uk. I also teach children and teenagers with special needs, so cool. I have a class for that on a Saturday morning in Southend again. So I'll teach everyone.
Yeah. What benefits? Like, what if you're going to sell it to someone? What are the benefits of joining karate?
There's many. You know, looking after yourself is what most people come into it for. Which again, with the right training, with the right intention or the right focus of your training, I think is a great benefit and definitely something that can happen. Fitness, you know, social aspect of it, more confidence. I think that's what I find a lot with my students is that their confidence grows. Yeah. You know, the way they hold themselves, and you know, sometimes they'll look back at 3 years ago and they've come on so much, and for them to have achieved that, and maybe in the past have not achieved anything like that, you know, and it really changes people. Do
you find that a lot with the juniors, like the kids, young ones?
I think both. Yeah, the kids of course, yeah, but I think also in the adults, I see it quite a lot. The kids grow into respectful, you know, self-motivated people, you know, driven. They often go on to things like university and stuff, which I've seen. It's great, you know. Maybe they would have gone that way anyway, but I'm sure it helped. I'm sure it helped, you know.
I think it definitely helps with confidence for kids, doesn't it? They come in like with their head down, shy kid, and then
for sure,
you know, after a while they're
absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Head tall, head up.
I mean, I have kids that come in like that, you know, shy and come in and scared of the first session, and 4, 5, 6 years down the line, they're up in front taking a warm up, you know, for the whole class. Yeah. You know, or they're competing in competition, and you know, you've got all the people watching them. It's great.
Yeah, good. Right, John, we're going to get you to show some stuff then, is that all right?
Yeah, okay.
We'll get you suited up and we can get on.
Thank you very much.
John, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciated.
Thank you very much.